To another edition of the Garden Angels of Justice and Peace with your host, Pearl Polzo from Philadelphia.
And Josie Brandon from Arizona.
We have another great show today. We welcome you back. We're hoping you're enjoying all the great shows. We're helping you join forces with us. We hope that you go to our website. You know, what is the website so people can go to it to sometimes to see these shows?
Well, if they want to go on the website, it's guardianangelsofjusticeandpeace.com or the Guardian Angels Dream Team.com.
We're on a mission, aren't we?
Yes, we are, and we're doing it.
We're gonna affect your people. The shows that you're gonna see, we want you to pass the word around. It's going to happen. We're gonna make changes happen in your household for you. Josie, what's the topic today?
Well, today's topic is kind of spicy, Pearl.
Okay, let's bring it on. Bring it on, as you would say.
We're gonna talk about bad boys versus nice guys, and the whole controversy behind the bad boys versus nice guys.
Okay.
So when I was doing some research on it, what I found out is that I really think nice guys, that the way these articles are being written, that nice guys really are I think the way they're saying what nice guys are, it's not accurate. We were talking about it a little bit last night. Tell me what you think a bad boy is and what you think a nice guy is, and then we'll talk about what they say as far as the media and the articles that are out there.
You may disagree with me, and I'm sure, and a lot of people will agree with me or disagree with me. But the average person, if you're a strong woman, and I'm sure many out there are saying this, if you're a strong woman, you don't want a nice guy. Why you don't want a nice guy? Because you can walk all over him. You can talk, you can do anything you want with them. Well, that was my attitude. I'm a strong woman, and many out there are. Now, you can go to the other hand. If you're a weak woman, who do you want? You want the bad guy. You want the bad guy because they're going to stomp down. They're going to tell you like it is. They're going to control you. They're going to say this is what you can and can't do. So you may think it's love, but you got that protection because the bad guy is protecting you. But he's really not protecting you because that's his character. That's his personality. And then there may be some flaws with it. In other words, the nice guy now, he may be the gentleman in disguise with you. My ex-husband was a gentleman in disguise, but he wasn't a bad guy. But I don't know. So we don't know what the woman wants out there. But if you are a strong woman, I'm going to say, what do I want? I want the bad guy. Because the bad guy I can't control. And I need somebody not to control me, but I need somebody to say, Pearl, I'm not going to let you get away with this. Where the other guy is going to say, do what you want. And it may be your personality as well. So this is what my personality. What's yours, Josie?
Well, here's what I'm going to say. I think we have it all wrong, personally. I think women need to realize that, first of all, whoever's writing these articles, bad boys versus nice guys, I was reading, this is what they interpret a nice guy, okay? They're saying that a nice guy is predictable, boring, sensitive.
Did I write that?
No, you didn't write it. And I actually got offended reading this for the guys out there. I'm like, that's so unfair. But this is what they wrote. This is what they write down.
You felt sorry for the guys out there?
I did. I think it's a totally unfair statement. But this is what they're saying, that guys are predictable and that nice guys are sensitive. They're too nice.
Check. Yes.
They're flattering. And then this is how they determine the bad boys.
Go
okay,
ahead.
This is the bad boys. They say they're protective, they're adventurous, they're selfish. But this is where I have a problem with what they've written in these articles, because I think that, first of all, even having the subject of nice guys and bad boys, why would you put bad boys and protective under the same category?
Very easy. No. Why? Why would you put bad boys and protective under the same category?
Yes.
I would what? Let me tell you the average person that I know and my friends. My friends would want, let's say, a police officer or, as I always say, a truck driver, a fireman. So they have that position. Now, what's the position? They're so strong. So what do you think of a strong person? Now, I could go overboard and say the person just came out of prison, too. He's a strong person, too.
Why are we using strong and bad boys in the same category? That, first of all, I think they need to change the category. It shouldn't be bad boys versus nice guys.
No, bad boys is only a phrase.
It's not. No, it's not. No, it's a contaminated phrase. It's a
contaminated. I'm going to agree with you there.
It's a contaminated phrase, because what we're saying, I think, and this is the hard part. I think that women don't realize that when they're saying, I want a bad boy, the word bad itself is telling you that you're inviting problems.
I want a criminal.
Yeah, I want a problem.
Yeah,
I want a guy who's going to leave me and who's not going to I want a guy who's good. I mean, there has to be, I think, a more of a breakdown of understanding what a nice guy and a bad boy is. I think the media and the way they're depicting it, it's unfair to men, because I think they have to fall under a category. Now, if you're a guy,
all the women out there, I hear them saying, Josie,
no,
what age were you
planet
born?
am I in? No, you know, I'm the planet of truth. Okay, so why are we putting nice guys? They're putting nice guys, and they're saying nice guys are boring. I know a lot of strong,
Good for
successful,
you.
smart
Good for you.
men
I know a
who
lot
are
of
nice guys.
Good for you.
And they're protective.
Good for you. But
So-
the average nice guy, I think, the average nice guy, he's a strong woman can walk all over him.
Well, I think
I
it's
see
the wrong
this. So
category.
that
It's
makes them boring. And why it makes them boring? Because the strong woman needs somebody stronger than herself.
But let's get rid of the word bad boy, because I think bad boys.
All right, let's change the
and I even
word.
think nice guys is wrong.
Let's change the
What's
word.
wrong
of
with
bad
a
boy.
nice guy? What's wrong with you said the word gentleman, and that's
No,
that's,
okay,
I,
wait a
I
minute,
say
wait a
that's
minute,
the
wait a
word
minute, wait a
to
minute,
use.
wait a minute.
Is he a gentleman?
No,
That's
no.
the key.
Oh,
Is
my
he a gentleman?
ex-husband was a gentleman, but he
Yes.
also was a wimp. So let's change nice guys to the wimp, and let's change
No,
bad
too
boys.
strong of a word. How would you like to be categorized? A wimp or a strong, whatever?
Yes, call me
Okay,
strong.
okay,
Call me strong.
but
And I am
person-
strong.
Okay, but I think it's unfair, because I think it's a totally wrong statement that we need to start changing. It's unfair to
what do
guys.
you
It's
think-
unfair to
wait,
guys.
What do you think you are? Do you think you're weak, or do you think you're strong? As a
I-
woman, what do you think
I know
you
I'm
are?
a very strong
Oh,
woman.
stop.
But I have sensitivity and I think I'm built as a woman with strength and sensitivity. But I think
Would you let a
men
guy
are, I
walk
think
over
men,
you? Would you let a guy walk over
absolutely
you?
not. But I think
Duh, that means you're a strong woman.
But what does it? No, just because. Let me ask you something. Oh, you just said, would I let a guy walk over me? Okay, so if I say no, I would not let a guy walk over me. Does that mean I want a bad boy? No, I don't want a bad boy.
No.
And does that mean do I want a nice? I want a nice guy. I'm going to say nice guy. The reason I believe, because the category they have here for a nice guy is not my envision of what a nice guy is. A nice guy is going to have a combination of being protective, being adventurous. A
Not
nice
really.
guy.
Not really.
No, I
don't
think
say
we're
that.
doing-
When
I
you
think
say
women are
protective, how could you say a nice guy is protective when he's got a wimpy problem of wanting the
what
girl?
does wimp and nice have to do with the same thing?
Okay,
Wimpy and nice are not the same thing.
Okay.
It's unfair to
Personal-
put nice guys and
we're-
wimps under the
we're
same
going
category.
personal now. Let's go
Okay.
personal. Let's go
Okay.
personal.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to go real personal here.
Okay.
And you know what? But he's dead and gone. He's in heaven, so he can't do anything, right? But my ex-husband, now I'm going to call him, what was the word?
Nice
a
guy.
nice guy. He was a super. My husband was a gentleman in disguise, everything. But he was a wimp. But I was that strong person. I was the strong wife that he married. Now, what happened to the strong wife? What happened to the strong person and the nice guy? Well, the thing there is so true. That's why I said everything down that list. He was boring. I needed some more to my life. So it's not that I wanted a bad boy, but I wanted somebody in between. I'm in between to say, you're not going to get away with this. I'm not going to flatter you just to flatter you, to give you the attention to get what I want, because I would see right through it. And see, my attitude was respect, character, and if they didn't have that, you're a wimp.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, first of all, I don't know if that's probably the right thing to say about being a wimp, because maybe he just absolutely loved you and really desired to make you happy.
Give me a break.
You know what? It's possible.
No,
that's
it's not
the thing. I'm saying, you know what?
possible.
This is what I think is happening.
Go ahead.
We really, as women, need to be careful about what we say. If we're saying, and if men start to believe that we don't want nice guys,
Okay.
what's going to happen?
They're all going to turn. No,
Okay,
they can't. They're
all
not.
going to be
can't.
bad boys, and some guys don't want to be bad boys. Some guys just
No,
want to be
no,
nice guys.
no.
And nice guys does not necessarily
No.
mean predictable or boring. Nice guy means he wants to treat his woman with respect.
Wait a
It's
minute.
unfair
A
to
nice
men.
guy-
It's unfair to men to be categorized under one
No,
or the
wait a minute.
other.
I'm going to disagree with you there, because
Okay.
a nice guy cannot turn into a bad guy because you want him to turn. A bad guy cannot turn into a wimp. Well, let's change the word wimp.
I disagree with you
They
completely.
can't. A bad guy
Our
cannot
producer,
turn.
look at our producer. Look at his face.
A bad guy cannot turn into a nice guy, even if he wanted to. A nice guy.
Okay, so you know what? Listen to what you just said, how you just categorize a bad guy cannot turn into a nice guy. You're telling me that a bad guy who is protective can't be boring? a bad guy who they've categorized adventurous can't be sensitive?
Yes.
You're actually, you want to believe that. I think it's wrong. It's unfair.
I had
and
a friend one time. Wait a minute.
Like, the categories are unfair to men and it's unfair to women. And what we're desiring is a nice. Okay, the producer says nice guys
can turn into a bad guy.
I
don't think so.
He's saying.
I don't think so.
Yes.
You're either a wimp or you're a wimp.
Oh my goodness, Pearl! That is like so unfair. It's such an unfair statement.
So I'm going to get all the emails, hate emails from all the nice guys out there. But you know what? If you want me, you better be stronger than me. I'm not saying you better be a bad guy. But what I'm saying is
we're sending a wrong message. Okay, I think what needs, and I'm going to tell you why this is so important. This is my belief. Is that if we start categorizing nice guys and bad boys, and we're putting in these, and this is what these articles are saying, nice guys are predictable, sensitive, and too nice, and they're saying that it doesn't last. That is the most inaccurate statement that I think that would be the opposite. Women do want a combination of sensitivity.
A combination.
They do want.
I want a combination.
They do want a man who's consistent or somewhat predictable. Not all the time. They want spontaneity too.
Yes.
But I mean, it's unfair to list the nice guys as this being these boring. They're not going to be adventurous, and then at the same time, these bad boys that you were saying, because a lot of times these bad boys, as they're categorized, are the most selfish people. They don't really care. And yes, do you want a guy to tell you what to do? That's what you just told me now. You want a guy to say, no, Pearl, but if you get a guy too strong who does not want to respect you,
I would reject
then
him.
What happens with that?
I would reject
Okay,
him.
so the key word is
in
balance.
Between.
Is
in
balance.
Between balance.
Is balance.
We're agreeing there.
Balance.
We are agreeing there.
So you know what?
You're a bad boy.
I'm letting the world know, and these whatever, these writers, editors, whatever, what to say. You know what? Women want balance. They want a combination of protective.
Balance.
They want a combination of sensitivity. They want a combination of some predictability, and a combination of a guy who's a little adventurous. Why do we have to categorize? It may make these guys feel like they have to be under one or the other. Oh, if you're a nice guy, no one wants you. If you're a bad boy, everybody wants you.
You know what?
Don't get caught up in that kind of stereotype. Throw it out the door.
Let's get your opinion out there. We want you to email us at the Garden Angels if you're sitting back, and I know I can see it. I can visualize it. I can see it. I can see one woman sitting there and saying, he's a police officer. She's one woman sitting there and she's saying, they're talking about you, you're a bad guy. Bad guys, the real thing. So he's singing it. I hear him singing it. On the other hand, there's the other woman out there, and I see her saying, Pearl, go for it. Because you're saying, yeah, my husband's sitting beside me, so boring. I want to do this. I want to do that. I can't do anything. He doesn't do anything. Go, Pearl. Go, Pearl.
Let me ask you something. What's to say that the wife's not boring? What's to say that the wife is not doing something that potentially could make him not interested? I mean,
are you a male chauvinist, a woman chauvinist?
No, you know what? I am about truth. That we have to acknowledge ourselves individually. Like, you could be looking at your husband saying he's boring, but are you boring? Are you someone?
Never.
You could be boring to somebody.
Let's ask our producer.
You could be too strong.
Do you consider me boring?
He's in the studio tonight. No, you know what? It's not about being boring.
See, he's afraid to talk. He's afraid. See? So you are one of the in-between nice guys that can't stand up to a strong
I say
woman.
Throw out the bad boys and the nice guy topics and put in... He's the combination. And you know what? And I think we will empower
Wait a minute.
both
Go
men
on the
and
microphone.
women.
Go on the microphone. Okay, well that's
we will
good.
empower both men and women, if we get rid of all this bad boy, nice guy categories and put down what we really want, which is most women want balance. They don't, if you have too strong of a guy or too weak of a guy, you can lose them either way.
Saying that the nice guy doesn't have the qualifications, selfish. Selfish.
Okay, hold on a second. Look at this, what they said. Nice guys don't set up boundaries. I mean, that to me is the most wrong statement. Why
nice guys don't set up boundaries?
Yeah, I mean, that's like the most unfair statement. I mean, why do we have to say nice guys don't set up boundaries? They do set up boundaries, but
why would you say bad guys? All of them are selfish.
Because that's what they're saying. Bad boys tend to be selfish. They
do you believe everything you read?
No, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. This is the stuff that's out there in the dating community. Like, they're saying women don't like nice guys. Women like bad boys. That's not true.
In my experience,
and men are thinking that they have to fall under a category to be acceptable. Because women want bad boys. But hold on. I'm going to get further now. I'm going to even get further.
Go ahead.
Because what I really think it is that as women, we have to understand what we want more clearly.
Okay.
Because I think what happens is because of the breakdown in parental and parents in like family structure, we are sometimes not looking, we don't even realize it, that we get these guys that are the bad boys, that are because they're these guys that are causing some of the heartaches and things of that nature, are something of the things that women are used to.
Well, wait a
being
minute.
raised that way.
Let's go to a commercial.
Oh,
When we go
goodness.
back to a commercial, we're going to find out what made the bad guys bad guys. Is it their parents? Or is it a woman that hurt them? So let's find out how the bad guys turned into bad guys and how the wimps will continue to be wimps.
Why do you use the word wimps? We're not using wimps.
We'll be right back.
There's nothing more disruptive and annoying than getting an automated call to your cell phone. There are laws against companies using computers or recorded messages to call you on your cell phone without your permission. This is consumer protection attorney Carrie Flitter. You've heard me as a guest on the Pearl Polto Show. There are consumer laws in place that prohibit many of the unwanted calls to your cell phone. If you're receiving unwanted or unauthorized calls, whether collection, selling products or services, or otherwise, you may be entitled to have these calls stopped and to collect money damages that the law provides. If you're getting unwanted or pre-recorded calls to your cell phone, contact us, the Consumer Protection Lawyers at Flitter Lorenz, at 888-668-1225. That's 888-668-1225, or online at consumerslaw.com. That's consumers with an S, consumerslaw.com. If we accept your case, the bad guys pay our bill.
You know, you just heard Carrie talking about the bad guys. We didn't put that in there. Talking about real shows with it. We're talking about the bad guys versus the nice guys. I didn't say wimps this time. The bad guys versus the way. Now let's find out though, because all the bad guys out there, you know, they could be in any field, but half of them, as you know, policemen, firemen, construction workers, truck drivers.
Oh my goodness, you're going to categorize them under professions?
Yes.
That's so
but
wrong.
no, wait a minute. No, we're not. No, when we said we came back from the commercial, well, I don't want a little school teacher
First of all, bad boys that they categorize can be under any profession. They just
they can't.
Hold on a second.
No,
you're
they
using
can't.
police officers, firemen, all these things because they tend to have more
Protect.
authority.
No,
they're more
protective.
figures.
They're more protective. I would want a fireman
But
or
that doesn't make him a bad boy. That makes him why are we using bad boy? The word bad itself
No, I agree.
and protective in the same.
Well, let's go
it's
deep
not-
in the bad boy. Let's go deep. How did they get the name bad boy?
Well, that's the whole point. I'd like to find out where
We
all these
do know.
articles-
We do
okay,
know.
You tell me, Pearl Palto. I like to know, who decided to go ahead and categorize it because I think they've started a complex with a lot of men around the country, and women are thinking, they're reading this, and the ones that really don't take the time to discover themselves think, yeah, I want a bad boy because obviously, I don't want to have a guy who's nice or who's, sensitive and whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's just setting up the wrong message 100%. In our literature.
I would want, in my life, the bad boys, to me, it goes from growing up. It goes from growing up. It's the insecurities of both.
How about we use
both the nice guys, or they were brainwashed. The bad guys were brainwashed. Now, this is all from their childhood to say, this is the way you're supposed to treat a girl. And then the nice guys now, they don't like rejection. So they do everything in their power. They do everything in their power to please.
Don't use the word nice in that category.
All right,
that's the problem. That's what I'm trying. That's the whole point of this whole
okay,
show.
Then let's change the word.
Okay,
let's change the word.
Okay, well, I'm going to use the word balance because we want
strength. No.
We want a strong man, right?
Yes,
protective, strong man.
Strong in place of bad boys.
Okay, so strong. Well, no, because men will see that as physical strength versus internal strength.
Okay, so let's change the word. Let's change the word. Then what can we use for a bad boy?
Well, I think what we need to do is let our viewers think what's the right. Let the men write in and tell us what they think is the right category. I'll have a producer think about it too. What he thinks should be. He's like smiling. What does he think the right category should be?
I'm going to go a little bit step further.
Okay,
the people out there, we want, go to the Garden Angels, go to our website, and here's what I would like you to do. If you're going to be honest enough, men or women, if you're going to be honest enough with us, as we're being honest with you, then somebody will get a gift certificate to a restaurant. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
So somebody out there is going to get a gift certificate, and we will read your email right here. We're going to read their email.
Okay, we'll share it on the show.
We'll share it on the show, whatever you say, because this is only my opinion. It's just Josie's opinion. I've been, going. Well, what restaurant? It's going to be. It's our producer said what restaurant, so that guess that makes him a bad boy. I guess that makes him a bad boy because if he was a nice boy, he would say, "I don't care."
Well, we have a sponsor. We have a national sponsor for the restaurant. When it was
we have the Red Lobster.
Yes,
we have the steakhouse. So one person will win, and each what we're going to do. We're going to try to do each time. Somebody will win a gift certificate, and the stakes go up higher and higher. The more honest you are, the stakes go up higher.
And I say write in whether you get the certificate or not, because this is so important for us to have a reestablished idea and understanding of
all right.
the
Then let's
difference
ask them.
between men
Let's
and women.
change the name. Okay, what would you change the bad guys to? If you're a cop out there and you say, I'm one of those bad guys, what would you want to be us to call you?
That would be a good question to ask, yes.
And if you're a nice guy, you're sitting there and your girlfriend's sitting beside you or your wife's sitting beside you and you're saying, what do you want today for lunch, dear? What do you want this? And then you're saying, I don't know, do what you want. What would you want us to call you? Not a wimp, not a nice guy. So what do you think and why do people call you a nice guy? Do you like being a nice guy? Or do you have that eager rage inside of you that you're saying, I want to get that anger inside of me? And this is why sometimes, which I did some surveys, I've done shows on this in the past, nice guys got more divorces than bad guys. Do you know why? Because nice guys changed their personality. They were so secured after they got married, and after they got married,
I don't believe
yes,
it.
there's a survey.
I don't believe it. I don't
and
believe
the
it.
bad guys, the same thing. The bad guys got worse.
Okay, let me make sure I got this right.
The bad
I'm
guys
going to make sure I got
worse.
this right. You're telling me that there was a survey between nice guys and bad guys and divorce, and the nice guys got more divorces?
The nice guys got more. Why? And here's why. This was the reason. The rage came out of them. Here's what happened. I did a show on this 5 years ago, but it wasn't called Bad Boys and Nice Boys. It was called, what did we call it? The husbands versus so-and-so. What made a husband change? And the calls that came in said, well, the wife said, I wanted him to go back when I met him. I wanted him to treat me when we first met. And he said, yeah, but I had so much rage inside. I had so much rage inside that I didn't like what she was doing, but I had to be because I wanted to marry her. So when I married her, then the wife said,
that's a whole different subject.
No, it was still the nice guy. Then we had the bad guy.
That's
then the bad guy. It wasn't called the bad
subject.
guy. The cop then got on.
It's a different show. It's
Wait,
a different show.
then the cop got on. Then the cop got on and said, we're considered bad guys. We're not the bad guys. We go after the bad guys. But the woman wants the cop. I had many friends that just dated cops for that reason.
Okay, and how many do you know? Let's get truthful, because we talked about this at a function. That how many people that you know that were married to cops or married to someone and that they're miserable. And they're miserable.
Boy, you're going to get hate mail in there.
They're miserable. Not all cops. I'm just saying miserable because they can't separate the work from the home. They take that same authority, strong thing, and they bring it home. And then the wives don't know how to deal with it because women, we're built differently than men. We're more sensitive. We're a little, we want to have that warmth and that, and they've just spent all day dealing with crime, dealing with all kinds of jerks on the street, all kinds of things. And then they come home, they don't know how to turn it off. And then they get home. And of course, the women are unsatisfied. They wanted the strong guy before, but now they're taking it home. It's totally wrong to classify under profession.
I'm agreeing with you.
Profession. And it's totally wrong to classify it under nice guy versus bad guy.
Well, then I will accept the fireman, and I'll accept the fireman then. Or I'll accept. No, but the thing is, she's right there. The police officers, you're right. And I do know that from friends of mine that were married to cops and everything else and relatives who were cops. What they do is they take their job home with them. And when we had one cop and he was in the a division for rape. But when he came home, he actually thought he was picturing his wife as that prostitute that he was attacking and locking that guy up. And he never told his wife, but that was in the back of his head. So he needed counseling. Yes, I'm not saying cops need counseling, but that strong issue where if you are in a strong profession, you take the job home with you, and sometimes that's the negative that's going to happen in your marriage.
But here's this is the thing. I was I was flying on an airplane, and I got very lucky. To be honest, I was actually with a police officer from Philly, in the South Philly, and we started talking, and we were talking about relationships and things of that nature. And
was his name John?
We'll talk about that one later.
Miracles.
But what the thing was, is he was talking about he'd been in a series of relationships, okay, and what he was explaining is when he would get home, he was engaged to somebody, and she would be upset about something silly in his mind, which was maybe one of the dishes, one of the this china dishes broke or something like that, something silly, but for her it was sentimental. Now he spent the entire day out there working, doing traffic, doing all these things, doing all this stuff, crime, whatever. He comes home, and so he would look at her and he'd think, I can't believe that you're complaining about a dish or whatever it is that to him in his world was frivolous, okay? Because he spent the whole day writing, going to domestic abuse reports and all that kind of stuff. And so she thought he was being insensitive about the dishes, okay? Because it was women. We are different. Women are designed a little differently than men sometimes. So is it possible that where the message is really not clear because we're sending out this idea of what a man should be and what women want? Women want the bad guys, and we don't want nice guys. It's the wrong message. It needs to be changed.
Well, then why don't you do the show on the woman then? Why would every man wants a woman in the soup house or in the kitchen cooking? I mean, it's the same thing. Does he want a businessman, which is the strong woman, or does he want a wimp woman that's in the kitchen cooking? So it's the same thing. It goes to both sexes.
No, they don't say nice guys. They don't say nice girls versus bad girls. Okay, they do say nice girls versus bad girls.
Yes, they do.
You think about who you're going to marry, the nice girl or the bad girl.
Do you want somebody that's going to cook all day for you in the kitchen, or do you want somebody that's on the road all the time? So, it goes both ways. It's not just a one-sex thing. It's two sexes. We got a man, the bad boys, the good boys. Then we also have the females. Do we have the businesswoman that's strong? She likes her independence.
Would you like to be categorized as a bad girl because you're strong? Would you like to be categorized as a bad girl because you are adventurous? Would you like to be categorized as a bad girl because you're protective? I would say the answer is no. You don't want to be categorized as a bad girl.
How would you know what I was going to say?
Because I'm going to tell you what I think you would say, and I'm going to tell you what I know I would say. And, you had to think about that because
I thought about it because I wanted the word
You're
strong,
processing.
not bad. I don't want bad. I'd rather have strong. You're right.
Okay, my point. Oh, that's my point. My point is we need to let the message be different than what's going out there because these guys are thinking they got to be, they've got to be these different categories when in essence, women mostly want a combination of everything. We want a man to be strong. Yes,
of course.
We want a man to be strong.
Protective,
but strong does not mean abusive.
No,
strong does not mean come home and make us feel like we're the small.
And listen to this.
This is
strong does not mean abusive.
Abusive. Strong does not mean abusive. Small does not mean and strong does not mean that you want to come home to be or bad does not you want to be home feeling like you're the small. You want to be respected, right? That's what we want. We want a combination of strength. We want a combination. Of sensitivity. And do you want a man without any sensitivity in your life? Would you want no sensitivity?
No, I want sensitivity.
Oh, but that's under nice guy. That's under nice guy. That we're letting guys.
We need
guys
the balance.
Don't think like we do. They don't think they go here and they're like, okay, these guys. Let's say these guys are trying to find a nice girl, whatever. They're in their lives. They're gonna and we have to do a show on this because I've had the opportunity to speak to a lot of guys who talk about how they're very lonely. And that they acknowledge it. It's lonely when you have to fit in a category. Okay, so
well, then they are in that category. If you're saying they're lonely because they're in that category,
because they think women want the bad guys and they're nice guys. The nice guys think women really want the bad guys.
Now, my attitude, here's what I think. I think that the nice guys, and through my life, I'm sure through your life too, and it's your life too. The nice guys are afraid that the strong woman will reject them. So what they do, because they're so fearful of the strong woman.
Can I just say something?
I didn't say bad woman. I said strong woman.
That's the problem. We're lumping everybody under nice guys.
Category.
Some guys, not all guys. Some nice guys, and there's some nice guys that don't want to do what you're about to say. You give me the category. What did you just say just now? What did you just say just now?
I have no idea. You just switched my mind on purpose.
You said, okay, go back to what you were saying.
No, to make things, like you said, we go through experience. We are talking, at least I am. I'm talking from experience.
So am I, sister.
And we're both talking from experience. So, and let me tell you, you know me, as you know me, as a credit expert, and all this kind of stuff, and I say it like it is. But I need, not a bad guy, but I need a strong guy. So I did have a nice guy.
Do you need or do you want? There's a difference.
I need, not want. I need a strong guy in my
wow.
life.
Okay.
Now, the need the strong guy is for one reason, because I did marry a nice guy. I did marry such a nice guy because I figured it was a balance. I was the strong one, and I thought he's not the weak one, but he was the gentleman. He was this, and this. The problem was, if I had something to say, I could have done anything. I could have agreed. He wouldn't even argue. So our main argues was me. It was a one-sided argument half the time.
Why does that have to be categorized as a nice guy? Maybe that was just that.
No, it wasn't, because this is where we're going with this. This is when we came back from
But
commercial. This is where we came back from commercial. Where did the bad guys get their bad guys?
You know,
where did the nice guys? Where they got it from? Their parents. How many women out there are saying, "My husband takes after his father"? How many times have you heard this?
But we're not talking about who they take after. We're talking about nice guys versus bad guys. And I'm going to tell you this. How many women do you know that went out with the so-called bad guy, bad boy, and they would love and embrace a nice guy because of the fact that the bad boy totally did something that was devastating or hurtful or whatever, because we are screwing up the fact of what women are. The message is being screwed up. And the message that men are thinking that they have to fall over one category or the other. If a guy is sensitive, if a guy is
All right,
flattering
let's
or whatever, if
reverse
a
it.
guy is not, that they're considered weak and nice guys are considered weak, that's the wrong message.
Then okay,
Nice guys are not considered weak.
No, wait a minute. Okay, so you're talking about balance.
Balance is the key.
You're a woman.
Yes.
What category do you fall in? Under nice guys? Are you a wimp? You don't like the word wimp. Are you a wimp? Or if I had to give you two categories, no. Let's take this another step. If I had to put two categories to Josie.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
If I had to put two categories, you are the wimp or you are the strong woman.
I'm not even going to acknowledge that because I don't think wimp is the right word. Wimp is one word. Which wimp identifies one aspect of many things of a person. Wimp does not divide the whole person.
Okay.
Wimp is one aspect of a person.
Okay, so who would you marry? Who would you want to marry?
Who would I want to marry?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to say a combination of the nice guy and the protective guy because I don't want a bad guy. I want a nice guy with a protective guy.
And a strong.
Yes, he's got to be protective, adventurous. He's got to have a combination of sensitivity. I mean, the balance. I mean,
the balance.
We need the balance.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
agree
the
with
message.
you.
Have the balance, and that's what we need to let the message needs to be thrown out there to the community, the men.
Yeah.
So men are not thinking like I have to be one or the other.
What can we change it to? What can we change it to? What do we call the nice guys then?
Well, you know what? How about we just call them great guys? Great guys.
No.
Wait, hold on. No, I'm not talking about nice guys. I'm talking about let's get rid of nice guys and bad boys and put in what is the definition of a great guy to a woman? And a great guy would probably be, it's going to be a little bit different for everybody, but it's a combination of everything.
That's why we have categories then. You're going to say, you just said it. It's going to be different for everybody. This is why every field, there's categories. There's blonde hair, there's red hair, there's blue hair. We're still in our category of what a guy wants. A guy may want somebody with blonde hair, with dark hair. So we're still in, the bad guy may say, I don't care what color your hair is. The nice guy would say.
What does the color of your hair have to do with any of this conversation?
It's a point, but it's a point because the nice guy could turn into a bad guy. The bad guy can turn into a nice guy.
But that's the whole point. Get rid of bad boy and nice guy altogether. The categories they're using are completely wrong.
As of today, we're doing away in our universe.
Amen. We're doing away with the universe. No more nice guys
no
versus
more
bad
nice
boys.
guys.
We're gonna say great guys.
No
would be the category
more nice
of a
guys
great guy?
and no more bad guys.
A great guy.
If you were the last bad guy on earth, call me. My number is.
Okay, you
so
want to
let me
invite
go
that.
to the experience. But no, I'm only joking there, people. I'm only joking there. The thing is,
let's use the word great guy. So what would be a great guy? That's probably the biggest thing because, I mean, so a guy can, if a man is looking at this, he's looking at the list of a great guy. They say, oh, okay, I can be sensitive and I can be equally protective. Okay. I can be, somewhat predictable and at times be spontaneous. I mean, you have to have balance. I mean, one without the other. You need to have a little bit. And again, I should not speak for every woman.
No, you can't. Okay? But you know what? On that note, let's go to another commercial. I need the time. That's why. So let's go to another commercial. When we come back, we're going to end this hot topic.
There's nothing more disruptive and annoying than getting an automated call to your cell phone. There are laws against companies using computers or recorded messages to call you on your cell phone without your permission. This is consumer protection attorney Carrie Flitter. You've heard me as a guest on the Pearl Polto Show. There are consumer laws in place that prohibit many of the unwanted calls to your cell phone. If you're receiving unwanted or unauthorized calls, whether collection, selling products or services, or otherwise, you may be entitled to have these calls stopped and to collect money damages that the law provides. If you're getting unwanted or pre-recorded calls to your cell phone, contact us, the Consumer Protection Lawyers at Flitter Lorenz, at 888-668-1225. That's 888-668-1225, or online at consumerslaw.com. That's consumers with an S, consumerslaw.com. If we accept your case, the bad guys pay our bill.
Welcome back to the Garden Angels of Justice and Peace. We got a hot show here today, and the reason why we have a hot show because we got two strong women on the stage.
And let's talk about. We talked while the commercial was running. We said there's going to be some people sensitive to, or they're going to be upset about whether we talk about nice guys and what we say about bad boys. Mm-hmm. But that's the whole thing of what I'm talking about. The reason why there's a reaction is because we've unfairly categorized them. We're unfairly categorizing them to become either a nice guy or a bad boy. And really, in essence, it has nothing to do with nice guys have nothing. This the way they put this whole category and the categories that are countlessly written in all these dating articles is unfair to guys to be categorized under a nice guy or a bad boy when in essence, there are just certain things that I would probably say most women are attracted to that they should probably lean on, not towards saying one or the other because
balance.
The balance.
It's
the
all
key
balance.
is
Now,
balance.
we just talked about a police officer.
Okay.
And I know many police officers that are super nice guys, but I know many police officers that they're bad boys. And the reason why they're bad boys, I'm going to say it, and I know you're laughing at there if you're watching this, is because you will see a woman riding down the street and you will stop them. And not only you'll stop them, but you'll stop them to ask them out, but you have that, you know you'll get away with it. You know because you have that uniform on. You also know, and I'm guilty of that too. I'm guilty of that where I would stop the police officers. No, I'm guilty of it. I am guilty of it because there's a lot of police officers out there that do things for the wrong reasons and just to get the attention of the woman. And the nice guy, now you put yourself in the other category, the nice guy couldn't do that. Because, and I said I'm guilty of it because I was attracted to every guy in a uniform. I don't care if he was policeman, fireman, Marine, but he had to have that uniform. Why? He was the strong, protective type. And I knew because of my personality, he had to protect me. And a weak guy couldn't, I'm going to say weak, and not, because a weak guy could not protect a strong woman. And I knew it. So, and this is where the unbalance came in at. And when you know it, when you feel it in your gut feeling, you want somebody to say, well, maybe that's why we're using and getting people in uniforms. They don't have to be in uniform, but we're getting it because we see that strong figure. They had the guts to say, hey, I want to ask you out, so I'm stopping you. Where the other person would say, duh, can you go out with me? Duh. And, and we see the differences. What do I want? I already know what I want, but you see, what do you want and who are you with? And we're talking about, and Josie's talking about changing the categories. Not the bad guys or not the nice guys. And what women are doing, how guys are getting offensive right now because they're saying, I am a nice guy. Now, how many guys out there, including our producers, saying, I'm not a nice guy, I'm a bad guy, but you're a nice guy. Well, you just don't want to admit it. Or you're saying, well, I'm both. The nice guys will turn into a bad guy. And you're only deceiving yourself because you either, to me, I'm not going to say I'm weak. I have weak moments, but I'm still strong.
And you would consider yourself to be a great woman, right?
No, a strong woman.
A strong woman. Okay.
Not a great woman, a strong woman.
But doesn't that make you feel great that you're strong?
No, I'm not a great woman. There's a big difference in great. Great means I have an ego problem. I'm great. If a guy said to me, I am great, I would say goodbye.
Well, no, that's probably the way you interpret it. I'm interpreting it differently, but I can see where you're coming from with that statement. But I think most guys are never going to take the nice guy over the bad boy. They're not going to want to say that because first of all, the articles are being written to make it look like that we as women want more of the bad boys than we want the nice
Well,
guys.
that's wrong. That's
but then
wrong.
when you read what the nice guy categories, I look at that and I say, my goodness, they've totally messed up both the nice guys and the bad boys, because it's not like we want one, or we don't want one versus the other.
Right.
We want the balance of both. We want to have we want to have sensitivity plus the protective and the strong and everything that you've mentioned. I mean, one without the other, you know, I mean, every person's a little bit different, but I think talking to most women as we do, you would agree.
There's two different things. Like there's the bad guy. I'm saying the bad guy. I'm going to change that name right now. This is the bad guy. Maybe, you know, we should change the name right away. But the bad guy how they treat a woman. Like I would say to the bad guy, you know, do you open the car door for a woman? They would say, we used to. We don't anymore because the strong woman says, no, I'm independent. I want to be independent. And the weak guy would say, yeah, I'll open the door for her because I'm trying to impress her. So he's got a motive. The bad guy is saying, no, I don't want to open the door for her because she's too independent. She wants to open her own door. So look how they're thinking too. The nice guy is saying,
that's the whole point. We're totally confusing them. And what's wrong with a guy opening our door?
There's nothing.
Even if we're strong women, let them be a gentleman. That's the problem.
Gentlemen. I've heard the word gentleman over and over. My ex-husband, God rest his soul, but he was a gentleman.
I disagree with you on this whole thing, because I'm going to say a gentleman will always supersede anything. A gentleman is someone who is respectful, strong,
and with motives.
That's your opinion of it. That's
I don't know. All the gentlemen that I met, they all had motives. They had motives. There's the reason why they were gentlemen is because they had a motive at their end plan, including, as I said, my ex-husband. He was a perfect gentleman. Perfect gentleman. He did everything. He opened the door. He even cooked for me. He did everything. Perfect gentleman. You would want him. But at the same time,
producer.
I often open the door still. Well, aren't you a good guy?
He opens the door for his girlfriend. And does she appreciate you? She does, yes.
See?
I'm going to say, yep. So that's the point, Pearl. That's the point, is that we are sending, not us, but the way the whole concept. Okay, he's saying he's still opening the door after 2.5 years. Bravo to you. Bravo to our producer.
I agree.
Bravo to our producer.
I agree, because I think even it's not the open of the doors. That's just the sensitivity of a guy. Naturally, we want the sensitivity there. I want the sensitivity.
How about this?
I want a sensitivity of a person.
How about we want a guy that will complement our lives?
There you go.
That's the key.
That's
we want a guy
word.
who complements our lives. You know, we still want the gentleman. Open the door. Absolutely.
Yes.
Make me feel like a woman. Absolutely.
Yes.
I'll make you feel like a man. Absolutely.
Yes.
We want a guy.
Compliment.
We want someone who will complement our lives.
Let's change the words.
And that's really what the key word is. So then a guy will look at, every man will look at himself as an individual and say, what about this woman he's attracted to? What is it that I can do to complement this woman? These are her personality traits. These are mine. Do we complement each other? That's really what the key word should be, because there's going to be some women who are strong, just like you, just like myself, strong, but maybe a nice guy who is sensitive, allows you to do what you want to do when you want to do it. That's important, Okay,
no, it's not.
You didn't want that. You wanted
I did want it. I didn't want it to be a mission where they had a motive.
Oh, well, that's what your perception was.
No.
He knew that he knew. What would happen if he told you no? What would he get in return? If he said, no, you can't go out on this business trip. He knew what he was going to get in return, right?
Yes.
Is he going to argue with Pearl Palto?
No. Okay. Good question. Now,
Yes.
wait a minute.
He's not going to want to argue. Some men shut down. They're
No,
like, if I do something,
no.
they'll shut
Good
down.
question. Would he argue with Pearl Palto? I would have no respect for him, no respect at all, if he did not argue with me. If he did not want me to, I would have no respect for him. And that's when I would say to him, you speak your mind. I used to have an old saying with my ex-husband and my guys I went with. I would say, I don't care if you murdered somebody. I don't care if you killed somebody. Always be honest. Well, I would say always be honest, because it's not making you strong or weak. But the thing is, being a gentleman, I mean, you get that from growing up. And I know that, from my brothers or my family. You get that from growing up. And being a gentleman means many things. It's not just open doors for a car. It's a whole qualification. It doesn't make
That's
them
what
weak.
I'm trying to
There's a whole
say.
qualification. There's many gentlemen out there that have many defects that I'm against.
And
there's many strong guys that have two strong points
And what
that
about
I'm
women? Do
against.
they have defects? Do women have defects?
No, not really. Well, they do, but we don't. We
I
don't.
mean, are we? That's the whole point.
The
We're
woman
sending
wants
the
to
wrong
be just
message.
like us. You want to be just like us, right? Which one do you want to be like, her or me?
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm just going to be me.
She's trying to give me a message here. She's not in competition with me.
I'm not in competition, A and B. I just want someone who's going to complement the person that I am, and that's really the message that's got to be out there. The man needs to understand: are you complimenting her life? Are you adding joy? Are you adding? And is she adding joy to yours? That's
Right.
really what the message should be.
So suppose he just got released from prison. Are you going to hold that against him?
Who is the man today? Who is he today? Did he become a better man from the experience? And I'm not here to judge. I'm just saying from who he is today, this person is today. Who is he today? That's who I want to know. Who is this man today? Because there's a lot of people that have gone through traumatic, bad things in their past, and they have become one of the most amazing people because of the fact they chose to design their lives differently after a hardship or experience. They were awakened. And sometimes these people that have gone through something traumatic are sometimes more awakened than the people who've never
I'm going to agree
it.
with there. Years ago, there was a blind date that I had. Believe it or not, it was a blind date. And one of my friends fixed me up on a blind date, and it was a person that just got released from prison. And she thought I was perfect for it.
There's the bad boy you wanted. Let the
No,
universe know.
this is a twist here. This is a twist here. So this bad boy that I thought, nice looking guy, everything good about him. And here she told me at the last minute when I met him, he just got released from prison. Well, I'm a little bit like shaky because I'm saying, how strong is this person? The thing is, he turned out to be the direct opposite. He was intimidated by me. And anything I wanted, I got. Here's a guy that just came out of prison. And I'm saying, what did you go to prison for? But the thing was, what I'm trying to say was, I have no idea. Here's a strong guy in prison that didn't know his own qualities. He was a gentleman, unbelievable. I don't know why he even went to prison. But you see, we categorize even the people in prison that are in certain, like construction workers, roofers, we categorize them as the tough men. They really weren't. They really aren't. They're the direct opposite. And it surprised me because I learned a valuable lesson in that from prison. And I never had, there was no one was exempt anymore. They just stated everybody. No, I'm only joking there.
So what you're saying, Pearl, is that you would agree that the media and these people that are writing these articles have unfairly categorized
We
men.
agree.
We agree on that.
We agree on that.
So that's good news. We agree on that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
And then the next thing is, instead of saying nice guys versus bad guys or bad boys, the right word would be, are you complimenting her
Complimenting.
life? Are you
Yes,
complimenting
not great,
her life?
not great, because that's an ego thing.
Yeah, and not
Compliment.
complimenting her or complimenting him like
Just
a compliment.
compliment.
Compliment means
Yes,
to
each other.
yes,
other.
yes.
Well, compliment to me means compliment.
Yes.
To me means you always think of the other person. It doesn't make you weak or strong. You always think of the other person. I don't care if you're a bad guy, a weak guy, a gentleman, whatever. You always think of the other person, and that's going to make you, if you were, they say, the nice guy, that's going to make you the bad guy, as they put it, because you're going to be protective. You're going to be always thoughtful. The bad guy, on the other hand, is doing the direct opposite too. He's opening the door, which you don't expect this to happen, especially if you just get out of prison, or if he's a cop or a fireman. You're expecting this protector, and yet he's changing, because what you want somebody to protect you naturally. But what does a woman want? They want respect, they want honesty, and they want the person to be real. They want the person to be real. No gimmicks, no armor to say, I'm the strong guy, or no guy in a suit, whatever, to say,
Yes.
well, they're categorizing me as the wimp or the nice guy. No, a woman wants, we're not looking at how you're dressed, we're not looking at the profession, we're looking at,
Do you compliment our lives? In other words, does it flow? When we're together, when this person is together with me, is it flowing? Is what how he is and what he does, or whatever it is that he brings to your world in terms of how he is as a man and things of that nature, does that compliment you as a woman? Do you feel good receiving that, and vice versa?
Yes.
Is what you're bringing to the table to that man, is he feeling good? Does he feel it complements his life?
yes.
That's really what the message should be. Are you finding people that you're complimenting together? and is it and seeing that flow of these two people coming together, is it flowing, versus having a man feel that they have to be either nice or a bad boy
to
to
get
be
the
into
woman's
a woman,
attention,
to get the woman's attention. And then that means they have to, be something they don't want to be sometimes, or act like something they don't want to be, because they think if they're act a certain way that they're automatically going to be dismissed. And in reality, every woman is different. There might be some women who like a man who approaches her more gently, and there might be some women who prefers a man to approach her more boldly. It depends on the individual. It depends on the environment. I mean, there's so many variables that could come into play here that it's unfair to just put these categories. And I want the people out there to know to throw those lists out the door, because they're unfair lists.
All right, we're getting almost to the end. We're almost getting to the end. If you had a categories between what word would we change from the nice guys to the bad guys, what would you change? Not what would you change, the personalities, whatever, because they're going to always keep their personalities. They're always going to keep, I don't care if they're bad guys or good guys, they're always going to keep their personality. Even though they say, I'm going to change. How many people have you heard getting in a marriage and saying, I'm going to change? Or the wife said, he's going to change, she's going to change. They never change, they get worse. So the nice guys, we have the categories. Instead of making them the nice guys and the bad guys, what can we now, today, change the name, not just what you said on both of them? Because the nice guys are saying, I don't want to be in that category with the bad guys. The bad guys are saying, I don't want to be in that category because I'll get rejected all the time. So what words do we use?
Well, okay, I'm going to go down. I'm going to say something that's probably a little bit different than anything, but I use the word complimenting. Okay, so what I would say is, don't end up reading all these dating things and try to be something you're not. Be who you are. Be who you are. And what I would do is, if I think all of us, man, or whether you're a male or female, what things you want to work on. I mean, we go home, we think about things because that's something we might want to work on whatever it is. Maybe you want to exercise more. Maybe you want to work on your career goals, be stronger, whatever it might be. My recommendation is make a list. Go home and make a list on a sheet of paper and say, this is what I know I'm really good at. At least I feel that I'm good at. I'm really good. I'm comfortable talking in front of a crowd, or I'm not comfortable talking in front of a crowd. Whatever it is, you write down all your lists of the things that you realize about yourself, and then think about what you would really want that would complement that particular, the place you're at now. What would complement your life? And then when you take a look at that and you start looking at this list, because you're writing down the list, you're taking the initiative to write it down. First of all, you're also taking the time to make the list. You're letting the universe know that you're acknowledging that these are your personality traits. And then they're letting the universe, God, know that these are the things that you're looking to invite into your world. And then don't worry about this nice guy, bad boy list. Throw it out the door. Make a list of who you are, and make a list of what you'd like to invite in. And then as you're looking at this list of what you want to invite into your life, decide whether that list that you're inviting in, is that a list that would potentially feel that you would be the complement to their life. If you're someone who is, who has, I'm going to use an example, maybe that you're not physically fit, maybe you're extremely, extremely overweight, whatever, and you're trying to invite someone who's, ultra thin and all super, dynamically aerobic or whatever it is. You want to say, is this person who's healthy going to really think of that as being attractive in their lives? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. We don't know. But the reality is that you need to make a list of things that you think, well, maybe this person's more health conscious. Am I health conscious? If my list shows a lot of things that are healthy and their list of what they want to invite is not, you know what I mean? You just got to see, is this a compliment? Because you want to grow together, so you might as well make that list now.
Solutions.
And,
it's
solutions.
Make a list.
Make a list.
What we're trying to get in the show is eventually, if you're a nice guy or a bad guy, you should put yourself in a situation and you meet someone. Don't play act. Don't play act as if you are the bad guy or the nice guy, and because of reasons to get somebody. Don't try to play that role, because it won't work.
Exactly.
And if it did,
Amen.
and if you played that role and you got that husband, you got that wife. Let's say you got her. And after you get her, your personality is going to go back to where it was. And she's going to say it. She's going to say, and that's when she says, he's not the same guy that I met. Well, because you weren't. You play act. You played act something to change your personality. And that's wrong. And to all the women out there, you should know. Go by your gut feeling. Go by your gut feeling. Do you really want a bad guy? Do you want somebody to be abusive? Is that what you're calling the bad guy? Are you attracted? And then you have to take a look at yourself to say, why am I attracted? I attracted to bad guys? Or you have to say to yourself, why am I attracted to a wimp? Do I want the control because he gives me everything I want? So look at yourself. Don't look at your partner. Look at yourself, what you want. You're going to get your own answers, and this is what you're going to go. Josie, again, as usual, this hour went so fast. And thinking about bad guys and good guys, you know, the majority of the women out there, they see couples. They see couples.
And men see couples too.
Men see couples too.
They're sensitive too. There are men out there that are really desiring to spend the rest of their life with that special woman, and they want someone who's gonna, you know, they want a forever girl. They do. There are some men out there, and it's okay to say that. Let's acknowledge it. Let's
acknowledge it, but give a woman some credit too.
Yes, I always do. You know that I always give the women the credit. There are some women that don't want to get married, and they're comfortable, and they're okay with all that. But here's where I'm going to go with
We're
this.
going to go with this as your song.
Okay. Oh, my song in just a minute. Oh, my song's on next?
Your song's on next.
Okay, we're closing the show. Okay, so hold on a second. So here's what I'm going to say. First and foremost, remember that we're all complimenting each other somewhere. That's the first thing you need to focus on is complimenting. And then just enjoy yourself. Be yourself.
See you next week. The Garden Angels of Justice of Peace. Pro Polto.
Josie Brandon.
See you next week.
God bless.
Look at them dancing as they go across the floor. Twisting and turning and yearning for so much more. And every night you'll find them at the bay. Laughing and talking all about yesterday. And I wanna love like that. I wanna love like that. So don't ever tell me that long love just cannot be found. 'Cause when you look for it, you'll find that it's all around. Just look at them gazing as he touches her head. She smiles and tells him that she's so glad that she's there. And I wanna love like that. I wanna love like that. So don't ever tell me that long love just cannot be found. 'Cause when you look for it, you'll find that it's all around. So don't ever tell me that long love just cannot be found. 'Cause when you look for it, you'll find that it's all